what did you like about how your team achieved this victory tonight?
Yeah, what I like is that, when you have a team that maybe has high expectations of themselves individually and as a team, and maybe things aren't going the way that they hope, individually, collectively, that, we just keep fighting, didn't give in. This is not, the prettiest game for us, but finding a way to win and being, so connected and tough in the fourth quarter, and despite whatever calls happen, etc., just kept fighting. Jumped on Liv's back a little bit, when she was able to create for us, and did enough. Tasha Howard was terrific, getting extra possessions, scoring off Liv's dimes. So that's what I like. There's not a whole lot you can go through in the stat sheet and get too excited about, other than the second chance points.
And then speaking of Liv, obviously, it was an interesting game for her. She came on late for you all. Did really well in the fourth quarter. As somebody that's continuing to grow in this league and as a rookie, again, what did she show you that maybe you didn't see or that you didn't know, or you just like, what, that's Liv. She's gonna just keep fighting until
she did it in college. I can't tell you how many games I watched her play, and first half could be pretty pedestrian. Maybe her team's down. I was at a number of games, and then all of a sudden Liv, gets going. And so it's like she figures it out. She figures out what's needed, and then just, gets really competitive and takes it to another level. And, we felt like, their drives were different than our drives. We weren't being tough enough on our drives. They would drive and go right through us and get a call, and we were more avoiding contact and allowing officials to see it as, more parallel, versus A to B fouls, or knocking off, speed, quickness, balance, rhythm, whatever. And Liv took it upon herself to get to the basket in ways that, was making it a little bit harder for the defense to defend without fouling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go to Cassidy on Zoom. Cassidy.
Hi, Cassie.
Hey, sorry. Mine gets a long stretch there in the fourth. I guess, what did you see, personnel-wise, that made that the matchup you went with down the stretch tonight?
I think Maya defends really well. Maya hit a three during a stretch that I just felt like maybe wasn't happening for Courtney as much. Courtney's great in these moments. She's not thinking about herself, and we had a plan. If Nia had fouled out, what Courtney's role would be, so she would get back, in that scenario. But I thought Maya was just giving us really good energy and ball pressure, and she's hard to play against, and and shoots the three when the floor is spaced. So we went with that decision.
And then I know it came up as well again in the last game, but just about Tasha's ability to kind of play, outsized, against outsized opponents. I mean, tonight finishing with 15 boards, I guess you mentioned her being great, but especially in that fourth quarter, what did you see from her?
Yeah, just effort. Like you said, it's not ideal. I think for her, if you had a choice, maybe who you're going against, you'd like it to be a little easier. But that's her level of compete. That's her level of belief in herself. She knows, our schemes and how we want to play them, on both ends. And she was opportunistic in both spaces and didn't quit. And we needed it. We needed someone that, was going to give us that spark. And getting those extra possessions, really helped us. And, we were getting open looks. Mac was able to squeeze 14 threes, getting open ones, and when they're not going, and you just need hustle plays. You just got to find a way. You got to make your own breaks, and Tashi was doing that for us.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Go to Andrew.
Cheryl, there's been a couple times this season where you guys have been able to rally from double digits
I mean, like you said, the team has high expectations, but obviously you've had some injuries too and things like that you've been dealing with. What does it say about the way this team's made up right now, that even in a game where maybe things aren't going the way you want them to, they're able to kind of find it in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that's what I enjoy about them. You know, they will tell you they're proud of, and Courtney and McBride are such a big part of that and carrying on the culture. Obviously, Collier's not out there right now. They're such a big part of it, and you know, we walk the walk that they walk and how they treat each other. It's contagious and they're uplifting, and you know, nobody feels great when things aren't going your way. You know, maybe miscues, you know, whatever, turnovers, missed shots or fouls or missed coverage, whatever it is. They have a way about them that doesn't let this team, you know, quit on each other, and they're like that all the time. It's not like just a one-off or, you know, on occasion it happens. They're like it all the time. Goes that way in practice. You know, I start getting on them. You know, some teams that maybe don't have, you know, sort of that foundation, you know, you start to look inward and separate and become islands, you know, when coach is getting on you. They have a way of just hanging with each other, and it's special, and it's like I said, Courtney and Mac deserve, you know, a lot of credit, who they are as people.
Go to Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, I have a hard time hearing.
Okay.
But I know you're probably for sure still in game mode, but just you touched on this upcoming weekend in the pregame a little bit. Now that you've cleared the schedule before this induction weekend, have you allowed yourself just a moment to, you know, look forward to it? And if there's anything that you're most excited about for this weekend, just what that is.
Yeah, and like you said, it is kind of tough right now to think about it. I figure when we land tomorrow in Minneapolis, and then you know, I head to Knoxville, and I'll miss a couple of, you know, times with the team, and I won't see them again until Sunday. I think once I get there, you know, things will really start to, you know, that's the only thing I'll have to focus on, at least try. I'm sure I'll be thinking about the Dallas prep and the game, etc. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to, you know, be with family and high school teammates and Lindsay Whalen and Simone Augustus. You know, a lot of people that were on this journey. Like I said, my family, my brothers, my extended family, you know, that live in the area. I'm just excited to go, you know, be in Knoxville and soak it all in. It's super, like I don't even know what to expect. It's mind-boggling to me. I remember being an assistant coach at George Washington University and sitting in the office and, you know, thinking about Pat Summitt and, you know, like, how'd she do it? And, you know, you just think about, you never think, like, I'm just trying to think about how do I, you know, just ever get a head coaching job and you know, be halfway decent at it. There's just no way, no point in time that I ever sit around and go, hey, Hall of Fame, here I come. You know, there's been a lot of blessings in my career. You know, there's been a lot of hard work for sure. A lot of people that have influenced me in such a wonderful way that I feel so thankful for. And I'll get to be with a lot of them down in Knoxville.
Last question, Andrew.
Andrew?
Right.
There he is.
Hey, Coach. My question is not nearly as, but, you know, lost on Pride Night at home and had a pretty iconic quote there. You win tonight and this Lynx Pride Night.
So we got our lick back for the gays. Is that what you want me to say?
To that extent, but I also just want to ask, like, Pride Nights around the league have been selling out. And just, you know, for a league that does celebrate diversity so much, just like, what does it mean to you to see that type of outpouring effect of like affection?
Yeah, you know, and it makes me reflect on, I've been in the league a long time, back when, you know, we weren't really embracing things like our gay population at the games. It was considered a knock on the product. Once we started really leaning into it, embracing it, and saying, you know, this is a big part of the reason why the WNBA was finding success, and, you know, no question about it, it's a welcoming place, for everyone. And so, but this particular initiative and celebration is extremely appropriate. They have been, you know, LGBTQ plus has been such a big part of the growth of the W. They were there from day one, and you know, I'm happy that we lean into it now in ways that we didn't, you know, many years ago. You know, it's special, and like I said, this is you know, the WNBA. It's why I love it so much. It was, I knew my first year in 2001 when I was coaching. I came out of college coaching where you had to be closeted at that time in the 90s because it was used against you in recruiting. And you would have, you know, code words, or maybe not, maybe even more direct, like you want that lesbian coaching your daughter. Or maybe men were perceived obviously not to be gay, and so that was considered a more family atmosphere. There were so many things that were happening to us, and didn't get jobs, you know, if maybe you had that label. And in the WNBA, I felt so able to be myself, and it was so incredibly liberating. And not a day in the WNBA I have not walked and felt comfortable in my own skin. Every single day. And it's for, the league is for everybody. We embrace everybody, you know, regardless of gender identity or political beliefs or whatever it is. WNBA is incredibly special. It has always been special to me.
Thanks,
I'll stop there.
Thanks, Coach.